Hey yo YouTube, how's it going everyone? Your boy is back with another video, and today we will be building something that is based entirely from a certain brand. So what brand has its own keyboard kits, switches, and even keycap sets? Well, that's not a lot actually, but for this one, you'll know them well. It is from AKKO, and the theme for today is that I'll build a fully custom keyboard from AKKO parts only, and before you say that their pre-builds are everywhere and much more cost effective, well, I agree with you on that point. But where's the fun of building one? Anyway, for today's kit, it is going to be the AKKO ACR64. It is a gasket mounted keyboard made from stacked acrylic, and this is my first time trying out one, so this will be a fresh experience for me. But from the looks alone, I do see that it has been finely cut and processed for a smooth finish. So according to my knowledge, stacked acrylic keyboard kits has the advantage of controlling the height and the thickness of the kit, so there will be less hollow open space. Therefore, it may sound good to some people because there's less space to create that hollowness, but that also means that there's less room under the PCB to put in your favorite mods. So let's unbox and take a look at this kit, shall we? Okay, so we have the kit here. So when you open it, you get your manual. Okay, so you get the kit itself, and you get the cord cable. But the cord cables, the quality is quite good, and it's not like it's entirely coiled, so it's like halfway there. So yeah, this design is much more to my taste. So for this kit, you get two switches, which in this case are the AKKO Jelly Blacks, for them to position their PCB to be more stable, and I guess you get a couple of free switches for testing. So for the switches, I've picked the AKKO Vintage Y linear switches that comes with the usual 3-pin formula. This one is a bit unique in terms of the spring it's packing, since it is a 22mm extension spring with only 35 grams of actuation force, but it still maintains the full 4mm full travel. The materials are fairly standard here: PC top, nylon bottom, and a palm stem. Since I've used long springs for their snappy feedback for quite some time, and I started it with the Oi Kings and now Spring Swap MX Blacks, I'm hoping this would be on par with that experience as well. And yeah, I'll be using this stock for base reference purpose. And I'll throw in another set of AKKO Lavender Pepper just to test out how loud this keyboard can become. For the keycaps, these are the AKKO ACR Profile World Tour London series. These are made out of PBT double shot, so they are nice and thick with crisp legends, and the contrast between the grey and green together with the yellow can make your keyboard pop in like a lot of setups, in my opinion. And they also come with a series of novelty keycaps, so you can try to mix up a little bit of fun inside your build as well. So let's try and build this thing. Just for a quick mention, I went ahead and looped the steps, which they came dry out of the box, so we'll save a little bit of time here. Thanks to the tall ASA profile and the thick PVT material, the sound profile definitely geared towards the talkie spectrum. I think the plate foam and the rather sturdy EVA gaskets contribute to a much more thumpy and less flexy typing experience on top of a deeper sound, even if the vintage white is supposed to be on the clackier side of things. But the spacebar, although can be a banger talk, the alphas are kinda thin, especially if you pair it with a thin cherry keycap set. I'm just saying. But this can be solved if you just go for another switch or you apply the magical PE foam. But overall, I like the typing feel of the ASA profile to go with the 35V actuation 22mm switch, which just works for someone who has also lived with cherry keycaps for as long as I'm in the hobby. The spacing of the keycap works as well because of the low typing angle offsetting the higher ASA keycaps. So for this particular combo, you'll be fine if you just like a cherry lover like me. And yes, there are no riser feeds here, so the typing angle is what you're gonna have to deal with those simple feeds. So let's go through the entire building process. Starting with a little tip. If you have trouble assembling the acrylic piece after taking it apart, I recommend you to hold the board upside down, since the flimsy piece near the USB port cutout is held tight to the table, so it is much easier to align and put in the screws. After screwing the 4 outer screws, the next thing you'll need to do is, you guessed it, the one near the USB port. After that, screw the rest of the board with it lying down as usual. Next I want to talk about is the steps. The stems is once again the cheap kind where they don't cut according to the size of the MX stem. So the modifiers, especially the spacebar, can be a little bit seesawy if you press it hard enough. But the problem can be somehow remedied if you just wholly mod and leave all the steps. Or if you don't want to deal with any of those trouble, then you just go grab some third-party plate mount steps like from the Everglides or the FLCM MK brands. Yep, this PCB actually supports screw-in steps, but the funny things comes one after another. For one, when I tried to install a set of Durock V2s, they are still loose even with screw washers. Secondly, the PCB only supports 7U spacebar, but the PC plate cutout for the plate mount steps is 6.25U. Like, why? So I really think that the hassle of going plateless or using screw-in steps is just too much effort, so you better just skip over this fact. But back to another one of its good point is the diffusion of the RGB lights, which acrylic kits tend to not fail. So perhaps the Wotor London keycap set may look a bit out of place, so you can pick yourself up some pudding keycaps if that's what you're looking for. And speaking of keycaps, one of the weird or funny things is that the base kit for this Wotor London set doesn't have the correct size for this ACR64, which the kit runs a 2U left shift, but the standard size is at 2.25U, so I'm like, what? But instead, I have to use one of the novelties. So if you want to buy this keycap set, be sure to double confirm your keycap size of your kit. So in summary, the AKKO ACR64 acrylic keyboard kit, in my opinion, proved its worth at about 250 ringgit. Thanks to the nice and smooth acrylic pieces, super bright RGBs and gasket mounting structure, as long as you can make do or solve those problems I mentioned earlier. On the other hand, the vintage white switches are your one-stop choice if you're looking for a super long spring with snappy feedback, but you don't care much about in terms of the actuation and sound because you just wear a headset when you're gaming or something. Lastly, the AKKO ASA profile keycaps are just great ever since they debuted. Sure, they are pricey, but the amount of extra novelties and extension sets for different roles, they are worth the price they are going for. And even more so if you're grabbing AKKO pre-builds. That's all for today's video, and you'll like this full AKKO build. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more videos about keyboards and computer stuff. Hit the bell for first-hand uploads, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.